What is good, YouTube? Kyle here from Wrestling with Fans, and it is night 2 of WrestleMania. It is WrestleMania Sunday. We are finally here. WrestleMania Sunday is upon us. I've got some my little snacky snacks here. Let's if you want to switch to the snack cam. Well, I guess it's not technically the snack cam, but we're gonna call it the snack cam. Let's go to that right now. You can see we've got some pizza, and if y'all have a Weiss grocery store, for you guys in the States, you have a Weiss, go back to their seafood section, get their Cajun crab dip. It's fire. So good. So good. So, alright. Get started here in just a sec. Wait and see if anybody pops in off of Facebook or Instagram. Posting links and stuff all over the place. Hopefully we'll get a few people in here as we go. But yeah, night 1 of WrestleMania. Wow. Just wow. Yeah, before we do, let's talk night 2. Let's talk night 2. Here's what we can expect tonight, WrestleMania Sunday. We have the tag match that was unfortunately pushed from last night. They ran out of time. They were in so many video packages, and some of the matches did go a little longer. So we have the New Day versus Sheamus and Ridge Holland, which has been moved to night 2. We have the Fatal 4-Way for the women's tag team titles. Queen Zelina Carmella taking on Sasha Banks and Naomi, Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan, and Natalya and Shayna Baszler. Johnny Knoxville and Sami Zayn in an Anything Goes match. Pat McAfee going one-on-one with Austin Theory. We have a triple threat match for the Raw tag team titles. RK Bro, the Street Profits, and Alpha Academy. We have Edge and AJ Styles going one-on-one. Omos and Bobby Lashley, 2 meaty men slapping meat. And in the main event, the winner-take-all Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns. So that's night 2. Night 2 is stacked, you guys. And I feel like I've got a hair on me somewhere that just won't come out. I had a tooth break on me yesterday, so if you see me picking stuff out of my teeth, that's what that is. So night 2 is stacked. But let's talk night 1. Let's talk, night 1 of WrestleMania. In the opening contest, it was the Usos defending the SmackDown Tag Team titles against Shinsuke Nakamura and Rick Boogs. The match goes about 7 minutes. Usos pick up the win. But the big story coming out of this match is that apparently Rick Boogs, when he was trying to double stack the Usos in a fireman's carry position, it looked like it was his, I believe it was his right knee that gave out. And now the reports are that it's a pretty serious injury and could potentially be a torn quadricep muscle. So no word on what the official injury is or how long he could potentially be out, but we all know what happened with Triple H when he tore his quad. He was out for, better part of a year. So, best wishes to Boogs. Change the lighting up here a little bit here in the Wrestling with Fans studio. But as far as the match itself, honestly, y'all, it was no different than any match you'd see on SmackDown. And I know not every single match can be like a 5-star classic, but there wasn't really anything special as far as the match win itself. So, but it was the opener for night 1, the first match of WrestleMania 38. Then we come back, match number 2. Happy Corbin with the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal winner Madcap Moss going one-on-one with Drew McIntyre. Now, I said this on the preview show before. Drew main evented the last 2 WrestleManias, and now he's in match 2 of night 1 going against Baron Corbin. I know you can't always be in every main event match, unless your name is Roman or Brock. But I wish WWE would have done a little bit more for Drew McIntyre. I'm hoping this is some kind of placeholder before they, have some kind of good story for him to get involved in post WrestleMania. The big takeaway from this match, which I didn't really realize until today, Drew McIntyre kicked out of the most protected finisher in WWE. Up until last night, no one had ever kicked out of the end of days. And however long Drew McIntyre, Baron Corbin has been on the main roster in NXT, no one has ever kicked out of the end of days. Drew McIntyre kicked out of it last night. So that was a big thing. The match goes 8.5 minutes. Nothing too special, to be perfectly honest. Then is where the good stuff starts coming in. As we start getting the good stuff of night one. This next match was kind of a sleeper. Really good. Probably like maybe the third best match of night one. Fourth. It's kind of like it was, but the problem is like the top 5 matches of night one were all really damn good. But it's Rey and Dominic Mysterio taking on The Miz and Logan Paul. Now, I'll reiterate my stance. I'm not a big fan of Logan Paul or his brother, but I just got to say, he seemed like a pretty natural athlete in this match. I'm not sure who he worked with to train to get ready for it, but man, he performed. I'm honestly quite impressed with Logan Paul's performance. Was it as good as Bad Bunny's? I think Bad Bunny was a little bit better last year, but again, that's just my personal opinion. Let me know what you think. Sound off in the comment section below. Let me know what you think of WrestleMania 38 Night 1 as we go through these matches, y'all. So let's dive into it here. Let's see. No, it doesn't work any better either. You can see like the flickering. Like, I don't know why the flickering is happening on this screen, but not on any other screen. It's just this screen, so maybe I'll just put it over here and we'll problemo solved. All right. Yeah, Logan Paul and The Miz versus the Mysterios. Now, Dominic had a really cool attire, paying homage to his real father, Eddie Guerrero. And the full, red, white, and blue outfit. The match itself is pretty good. They paid tribute to Eddie several times. Tried going for the Three Amigos. Logan Paul countered, hit his version of the Three Amigos, goes up to the top rope, does a little Eddie Guerrero shimmy, and hits a pretty damn good frog splash. Sent the crowd. The crowd fucking hated him. Hated him. I thought it was brilliant. But match ends. The Miz and Logan Paul pick up the win, 11 minutes, 10 seconds. Then in the post-match, The Miz turns on Logan Paul, hitting the skull-crushing finale. And I don't know if that's, a babyface turn, or maybe they're thinking of doing Miz versus Logan Paul one-on-one at WrestleMania Backlash. I mean, that'd be a match I'd be okay with seeing. But hits a skull-crushing finale, kind of walks off. The crowd popped big. The crowd popped really big for The Miz's skull-crushing finale on Logan Paul. Nobody liked Logan Paul there. I'm pretty confident in saying that. I don't think there was one single Logan Paul fan in that building. And if there was, they were very, very quiet. But the next match. The next 2 matches, arguably, it's a coin flip for match of the night. I think this next match, I don't know if it was the best match, but this was my favorite match of the night. And that was the Raw Women's Championship match. Becky Lynch, Big Time Bex, defending against the Bianca Belair. The match goes 19 minutes and 10 seconds. And it felt like this match went a lot longer. It felt like it was like a 25-minute match. Bianca picks up the win, is now your new Raw Women's Champion. We'll talk about a couple moments in the match. The entrances, Bianca had the big marching band out there, Texas Southern University, doing a rendition of her theme, and then they were added into her regular theme song as they went along. Big time Beck's kind of getting the Batista entrance, having a big SUV pull out on the stage, let her out, looking like Lady Gaga. I love Becky's outfit. The new hairdo is awesome. It fits her, the makeup. She looked like a star. There's no doubt in my mind Becky Lynch looked like a motherfucking star last night. So did Bianca. To me, it was kind of more of a Michael Jackson inspired outfit with the gold bars across the chest. Kind of looked like one of Michael Jackson's jackets from back in the day. Great back and forth match. Becky dominated early. Then Bianca came back and got her. She fired up, kind of came back, got her stuff in. I mean, it's awesome match between the two of them. There's one scary part where Becky does that flip and her right heel caught Bianca right up in her left eye. Now, it didn't seem like there was too much damage. I mean, she still was able to perform the rest of the match. She seemed like she could see out of it. But I guarantee you she's got a pretty big shiner coming in to today. She's probably really hurting today after that match. But great contest between the two of them. I expected nothing less. At the very end there, Bianca finally able to hit the KOD on Becky, getting the pinfall win. She is now your 2-time Raw Women's Champion. And I'm just going to say, for once, it's kind of really good long-term storytelling for WWE. It started with Bianca winning the Rumble last year, winning the belt at last year's WrestleMania, to, Becky surprise showing up at SummerSlam last year and kind of getting one over on Bianca, to Becky dodging Bianca along the way to this big rematch, to now where it's WrestleMania, Becky's got nowhere else to run. She's been trying to cut the braid. She got whipped by the braid several times. Becky ended up getting her hair cut herself. It was a good long-term storytelling, something that you don't normally get to say about WWE. So kudos to WWE for telling a good story with those two. I was really impressed with the match. And I can guarantee this is not the last time we will see these two go one-on-one. Now for the match that everybody's been talking about. The moment everybody's been talking about. So, Seth freaking Rollins makes his entrance. Kind of looked like he had Cookie Monster draped over his shoulder. I don't know what was up with that outfit. Don't know what was up with that outfit. But then everything kind of stops. The lights go out. And Kingdom by Down Straight. Adrenaline in my soul. The crowd went absolutely ballistic. I'm not going to lie. I got goosebumps. I thought it was insane, the pop that Cody Rhodes got on his return to WWE. I've been saying it many, many times here on the show. I am not a Cody Rhodes fan. I just haven't been a fan of his stuff. I liked the stuff with Legacy back in the day, but I don't know. Just something about Cody always kind of was off-putting to me, especially in the last few years. But I tell you what, it was pretty damn cool to see his entrance and that pop he got last night in Dallas. As soon as they realized it was Cody, everybody went nuts. The only ovation that was probably bigger was when Stone Cold Steve Austin came out later in the night. Definitely the biggest pop of the night went to Stone Cold, but a very close second was for Cody Rhodes. And the match itself goes 21 minutes and 40 seconds, I believe. Let me double check the time. 21:40. 21:40. So it was a good match. The guys were given a lot of time. And this is one of those matches that, as Bobby put it, him and I chatted on Facebook, Bobby said it built. It was everything you want out of a WrestleMania match. It started slow, and it just built. It built and built and built to the big crescendo, the big finish. Lots of false finishes throughout the match. Maybe a few too many for my personal liking, but again, it's just my own personal taste. I don't like too many false finishes. But Cody hit the crossroads. Seth kicked out. Seth hit him with the pedigree. Or Cody hit Seth with the pedigree, I think. And then was kicked out of just finisher after finisher. But we get to the very end. Cody hits 2 crossroads. Hits some jabs. Hits a big bionic elbow. Hits that third crossroads. picks up the win. Let me pull this up real quick because this is one thing I wanted to talk about. This is some notes from the media scrum, the post-WrestleMania media scrum with Cody. So it says here, Triple H was the last guy to meet with Cody before his match, and it made him emotional. Can't wait for a WWE writer to approach him so he can lie to their face with a, yeah, that sounds great. Had thoughts of returning to WWE around the Royal Rumble. His daughter being born is what gave him the mindset that he needs to make a lot of money. I mean, yeah, you got a kid. Kids aren't cheap, y'all. If you ain't got kids, you don't know. But kids ain't cheap. Stone Cold praised Cody for his match with Rollins. Says he doesn't want a management job in wrestling again, as he doesn't believe he is mature enough, which is nice self-reflection for the young man. Says being an executive was cool for a minute, but he wanted to be world champion. Now, if you remember back in AEW, had he lost his first opportunity at the title, he could no longer challenge for the AEW world title. So I know there was a lot of people thinking they were going to find a way around it, but obviously that never happened in his time in AEW. He was prepared for a split crown, but was very happy with the reaction he was given. He's appreciative that he and Tony Khan didn't speak negatively of each other during Cody's absence. It's always nice. Says there's no truth to any report of his departure regarding money or creative control. Because that's where a lot of it was. A lot of the reports early on, where it was about, they weren't going to pay him enough. They're paying what he thought he deserved. And he wasn't able to have the creative control that he had once had because Tony Khan had basically taken over all of creative and booking by himself. Says it's not about the money, as everyone in wrestling is paid good. Says he got his closure with Vince before he re-signed. He has no anger with AEW, as it was just a chapter that ended and that he's on to a new chapter. Wants to do what Dusty and Dustin never did, and that's win the world championship. So just some cool notes there from Cody's media scrum post WrestleMania. Now, some other details have came out about Cody Rhodes re-signing with WWE. This is a multi-year deal. I would assume it's probably a 3-year deal because that seems to be the standard now, 3-year deals. And it also says that he is part of him signing. He will be the executive producer of his late father's A&E biography, WWE Legends documentary. So if you've been a fan of the Legends stuff on A&E that WWE has worked with, get ready because Cody is going to executive produce the one on his father, Dusty Rhodes. So that's pretty cool as well. I'm glad he's able to come back and cherish his dad's legacy and try to make be better. If that's something he wants to do, but and I've been saying for weeks, I didn't believe Cody was going to show up until he actually showed up on TV, and last night he showed up on TV. There's a lot of people going nuts. There's a lot of AEW fans taking to Twitter, kind of going off, calling Cody a liar and a traitor and this, that, and the other. There's a lot of people on Twitter with no chill. The Young Bucks had one of the better reactions. Of course, they always tweet new bio when they update their Twitter bio. And it says, WTF, I thought we were going to do All In too. So they're kind of taking a shot at it. Got congratulations from a lot of AEW talent, including his brother Dustin Rhodes. I don't remember all the guys, but I read them earlier. But yeah, there's several out there who congratulated him. So they're proud of him. A nice touching moment. A picture of him and his wife Brandy was tweeted out right before he went out for the match. Good stuff, man. I just hope that he's not jobbing out in 3 minutes on the opener of Raw within 3 weeks, because that seems to be the thing. Vince gets a shiny new toy, gets a 3-week push, and then he's pretty much just buried, and now he's worthless. So I'm hoping, not only for Cody's sake, but for the sake of the business, I think it's time, you gotta let stuff play out. And I think with Cody's reaction, and the reaction he will probably get on Raw tomorrow night, will be really telling. But the real test would be like 3 weeks from now at a random Raw in the Midwest of the U.S. somewhere, to see what kind of reaction he gets there. A lot of people at WrestleMania last night and tonight, and also will be at Raw tomorrow, are more of your quote-unquote smart fans who are more in the know, or they read the dirt sheets, things like that. The smart marks of wrestling, so to speak. They're going to be more in tune. They're going to know who Cody Rhodes is and whatnot. Your average John and Jane Doe, Jenny Smith, I don't want to say Doe because it's kind of morbid. Your John Smith, your Sally Smith, and little Jimmy and Becky Smith. they probably don't know who Cody is, and if they do, they probably remember him as Stardust. So it'll be really interesting. Like I said, about 3 or 4 weeks after WrestleMania, after the Raw after Mania, and a couple weeks in between to kind of let that shine come on. What kind of reaction Cody starts getting within WWE? It'll be really interesting, and of course, it gives me and all the other wrestling podcasts and pundits out there something to talk about. But enough of that. Let's move on. The next match was the SmackDown Women's Championship match. Charlotte Flair taking on Ronda Rousey. The match goes 18 minutes and 23 seconds. Charlotte winning via pinfall. Now, I got to be honest. I was not expecting Ronda to win, to be perfectly honest. I'd figured, after everything that went on, that it would be smart to put the belt on Ronda. But, they went with Charlotte. I'm interested to see the follow-up. I don't want to say, oh my God, Charlotte just keeps winning WrestleMania. What did Ronda go over? I want to see the follow-up. I want to know where this leads. What are we going to get Bianca versus Charlotte in a some kind of unification match like some people think we might get? We're getting that with the men, or we're going to get that with the women. But yeah, I'm interested to see the follow-up. That's what intrigues me the most is the follow-up. To see where the story goes. The match itself was pretty good. It was a completely different match than Becky and Bianca. They told a completely different story. It was a more, I don't want to say slow pace. It was a more deliberate pace. It was more of a deliberate match. It wasn't a flashy match. It was a good match. There's the last, 2, 3, 4, 5 matches. The first 2 were kind of like I wasn't impressed with. Like you could find them on any episode of Raw or SmackDown. But the last 5 matches, man, they definitely, you picked up the pace. They had a little more sizzle on their steak in those last 5 matches. Of those last 5, I think Charlotte and Ronda was probably the weakest of the 5 for me. We'll get to the last match because it wasn't technically supposed to be a match, but it turned into one. We're going to talk about it. But I'll rank my 5 from the last 5 matches. For me, it's Bianca and Becky, then Cody and Seth, very closely second behind by Cody and Seth. Austin and Owens, Miz and Logan Paul versus Mysterios, and then Charlotte and Ronda. That'd be my ranking of those 5 matches as far as the best to worst. And then the tag match and then the McIntyre Corbin match, they're kind of pretty much tied for 6 after that as far as I'm concerned. And it's not a knock on any of the performers. They just didn't seem like they stood out as much, and especially in hindsight. In hindsight, they didn't stand out very much at all, other than maybe Boog's injury. But again, Charlotte Flair picking up the win, 18 minutes, 30 seconds. She is still your SmackDown Women's Champion. And then the main event, which some people were kind of wondering, it wasn't advertised as a match, but it was going to go on last. There were several people not happy about that either. Why did your talk show segment going on last? No, you should put Becky on last. You should put Charlotte on last. I get it. I mean, it was a smart decision. Sending the crowd home happy, extremely happy. Kevin Owens comes out. Get a little KO show. Said, got a couple of chairs. Got his little signs. He acts like he's going to apologize, and he proceeds to run down Texas all over again. The crowd is eating it up. He's getting so much heel heat. He's getting booed so bad. Really great. But then one singular noise changed everything. The glass shattering, and then the roof literally blew off of AT&T Stadium. I mean, Cody got a hell of a pop. Steve Austin's was deafening. It's so good to see Steve come out, but when I seen him come out with the double knee braces on, I was like, we're going to get something physical, and it's going to be more than a couple punches in the center. I wasn't sure what we were going to get, but I knew we were going to get a little bit more than just a brief altercation. Like, he's not going to come out in double knee braces for nothing. Now, KO was out in full gear, wrist taped and all that good stuff. Steve comes out of the ring. No, you have a good back and forth between the two. Kevin Owens and Steve Austin have great chemistry together as far as bouncing back and forth on the mic. I really enjoyed it. You're hearing some of the lines that Steve was saying. It took me and Jen back. She even said, "Man, it feels like '98," and it's like, yeah. Hearing Steve cut those promos like it's the heights of the Attitude Era, it gave me goosebumps. It was so good to hear him on the mic cutting the promo, call him as beady eyed, son of a bitch, and all that stuff, hitting the greatest hits. Then, of course, as you all know, it turned into a no-holds-barred match. Brought the ref down, throw the chairs out of the ring. And this match, it was perfect. And I don't mean that in like, a 12.5-star classic in the Tokyo Dome. I'm talking it was perfect because it did everything it needed to do. It allowed Stone Cold Steve Austin to have that moment, like he talked about in that promo. He wrestled his first match in Dallas. His last match was at WrestleMania 19 years ago. But he can actually have his last official match in Dallas, where it all started. It goes full circle for him. And, if Steve Austin is 57 years old. By the way, he now is the oldest person to ever main event a WrestleMania. The previous record holder was The Undertaker, who was 55 years old at WrestleMania 36. Steve now 57 at WrestleMania 38, the oldest man to main event a WrestleMania show. And like I said, it was basically a brawl. Steve was never the best technical wrestler. He was more of a brawler. And it played to his strengths very well. He didn't have to, bump. He didn't have to do a lot of running. It was basically punches, kicks, and throwing people. Like I said, it did everything it needed to do. It was perfect in that sense. Like I said, not a 12.5-star match classic at the Tokyo Dome. Like Kenny Omega wrestling a broomstick, 13.5 stars by Dave Meltzer. But it was great. The one crazy thing, Steve taking that suplex on the outside at 57 years old, not having wrestled in 19 years, with the bad back, the bad neck, the bad knees. He takes that suplex hard on the outside. My strength clenched a little bit. It's like, oh, that's... I know he's going to be protected. KO's going to protect him. He's not as much as he possibly can, in that move. But, man, it's so hard to see a 57-year-old guy get suplexed like that, considering, what we know his body went through with the broken neck and all that stuff. Fought out into the crowd, fought back into the ringside area. At one point, Steve throws KO up on the, basically a knocked out KO up on the four-wheeler, drives him up to the big entrance stage, which, by the way, looked really, really awesome. And then you go have the brawl up there. Austin then kind of like boots his ass back down to the ring. And it's a classic spot. Kevin Owens grabs the chair. He goes to hit Steve, misses. The chair hits the top rope, rebounds, smacks him in the face. Steve makes a recovery, hits the Stone Cold Stunner. 1, 2, 3. Stone Cold Steve also winning the main event of WrestleMania 38 Night 1 in 14 minutes. And like I said, it was great. I loved everything about it. To me, it was perfect. It did everything it needed to do as far as, a nice nostalgia feeling. Kevin Owens gets the main event. Kevin Owens main eventing WrestleMania. Who would have thought that? It wasn't on my bingo card in Wrestling 2022. Neither was Cody Rhodes wrestling at WrestleMania this year. That definitely wasn't on my wrestling bingo card for this year. And then after the match, Steve had his brother come in to celebrate. And kind of a throwback. Excuse me, sorry about that. To 316 Day in the Performance Center era. He invites Byron Saxton up to the ring to have a nice Stone Cold American Lager, which I didn't know was a thing because I was always used to the Stone Cold IPA. So apparently he has an American Lager now, courtesy of El Segundo Brewing Company. You can look that up online. They're not paying me, but I just thought it would be fun to say. Invites Byron Saxton up there, hits a stunner, sends the crowd home happy. And apparently after the camera, he drank some more beer and gave out a few more stunners. An awesome way, an absolutely awesome way to end night 1 of WrestleMania. I really, really enjoyed night 1. And in all honesty, to me, night 1 was the weaker of the two. I thought night 2 had a much more stacked card as far as big matches and matches that I personally wanted to see. But I tell you what, man, night 2's got a lot the bar's been set pretty high by night one. Like I said, the first two matches were kind of just like, maybe TV main events at best. But the last 5 matches, man, it really picked up with the Logan Paul and Miz versus the Mysterios match. It peaked with Cody and Seth Rollins. And then, the Steve Austin KO match was just phenomenal. Just phenomenal. Overall, I love night one. Absolutely loved night one. I'm going to save my letter grades for afterwards. I'll save that for the podcast, which, again, the audio show is going to come out on Tuesday this week, guys. So it's tomorrow on Monday evening. I'm going to record my full WrestleMania review for the audio show this week. So make sure you check that out at WrestlingWithFans.com. And speaking of social medias, all right. We are halfway through the stream, and it is time to talk about night 2, which is going to take place here. It is 5:35 Eastern here on the East Coast. The WrestleMania kickoff show starts at about 25 minutes at 6 p.m., and WrestleMania proper starts at 8 p.m. With my work schedule, I'm not going to be able to watch all of night 2, but hopefully it delivers. We're going to preview it. We're going to take a quick break here for a minute. So enjoy some tunes. Hang tight. Thumbs up the video if you haven't. Share it with a friend. Subscribe. All that fun stuff. Be back here in just a moment. We're going to preview night 2 of WrestleMania 38. Y'all, coming back in here. Let's talk about night 2. Actually, one last point for night 1. I was only one prediction off. I predicted Ronda to beat Charlotte. I had Bianca. Actually, no, I was wrong. I went to Mysterios, so I was wrong with 2. I thought I forgot. I thought I had picked Logan Paul and Miz. I could have swore I picked that match. Broken teeth suck. I'm gonna lie. So moving into night 2. Of course, we have the New Day Taking on Sheamus and Ridge Holland. That match was moved from night one, so I'm not going to talk about it too much more. I did pick Sheamus and Ridge Holland. I'm staying with that pick. That are my official predictions. Prognosticator paper. Alright, so we got the Fatal 4-Way. Zelina and Carmella, Sasha, Naomi, Rhea and Liv, Shayna Baszler, and Natalya. Now, I think with these Fatal 4-Ways, you can go a lot of different ways in a Fatal 4-Way, obviously. Zelina and Carmella will not be walking out with the belts. I just don't see that happening. I don't see Natalya and Shayna Baszler leaving with the belts either. To me, it's down to two teams. It's Sasha, Naomi versus Leah and Liv. Those are the two teams I think have the best opportunity to win this match. Rhea and Liv, I think, have a very good vibe together. Kind of that heavy metal, punk rock kind of deal, the leather, the piercings and stuff. They have a good look together. But I don't quite think they're there. Honestly, I think it's going to go Sasha and Naomi. I really think Sasha Banks is going to get her first win at WrestleMania. Finally get her first win at WrestleMania. Naomi will get her... she won the Women's Championship 5 years ago at WrestleMania... 33. So I think it's going to come full circle. We're going to get Sasha and Naomi going to come out on top. They're going to be your brand new WWE Women's Tag Team Champions. Now for the next match. Now, I don't have these in actual any order. I'm just going about how they're listed on Wikipedia. We have Sami Zayn going one-on-one with Mr. Jackass himself, Johnny Knoxville. It is an anything goes match. I think it goes without saying, Johnny Knoxville is going to win. I just see that being the case. There's going to be some dumb bumps. There's going to be some stupid stunts. But I think it's going to be Johnny Knoxville somehow going to get the win. They're going to continue conspiracy stuff with Sammy. All right, we also have Pat McAfee and Austin Theory. I've gone back and forth in my head who I think should win this. With McAfee kind of having the rub of Mr. McMahon, it would make sense for him to win, to kind of elevate him up a little bit. But at the same time, Pat McAfee lost his last one-on-one match with Adam Cole, Baby. And I think he even lost the War Games, if I remember right. I don't remember the War Games, but I remember it was Team McAfee versus the Undisputed Era. I could have sworn the Undisputed Era won. But I think Pat McAfee's going to walk out of here with the victor. I think it's going to be a pretty good match. McAfee was very impressive in his contest in the War Games match and his one-on-one match with Adam Cole. Baby. So I'm going to go with Pat McAfee. We got the triple threat match for the Raw Tag Team titles. RK Bro, Street Profits, and Alpha Academy. I don't think there'd be a wrong answer for who comes out with the belts. Yeah, I'd really written down RK Bro. And I'm probably going to kick myself for changing it. But I could see the Street Profits walking out. Bianca is your Raw Women's Champion. It'd be cool to have husband Montez Ford with his partner Angelo Dawkins walk out with the Raw Tag Team titles. Make the new power trio in WWE if they want to do an online, on-screen story with them. And I think that's kind of my thought process. Because, Alpha Academy I think would be a great tag team champions. RK Bro I think would continue to be amazing tag team champions. I expect the match to be pretty good. But again, I think we're going to go with the Street Profits on this one. I'm going to go Street Profits. And a little bit of an upset possibly. All right, so we've got the match a lot of people are talking about. A lot of people are talking about this. The Rated R Superstar Edge taking on the phenomenal one, the face that runs the place, AJ Styles. I'd love to see AJ get a big win here at WrestleMania because I don't think AJ's ever won at WrestleMania. They won the match against Shinsuke. I don't think he's won one since then. I think it's going with Edge. I think it's going to go Edge with the new, darker, more sinister Edge, the new look, the new intro, the new music. I think it's they need to cement Edge in this heel role, and I think to do so he has to pick up a win, probably under some nefarious circumstances, or I don't want to say cheat. He may put an extra beating down on AJ to boot just to kind of get the point across. But I honestly think it's going to be Edge getting the win here. And then the match I honestly don't care about. Bobby Lashley and Omos. Lashley, we all thought was going to be out for several months after the Elimination Chamber. He's back in time to go one-on-one with Omos. Two meaty men slapping meat. I think the smart play would have Bobby Lashley win to kind of get him back on the right track. But I honestly think it's going to go to Omos in his first big singles outing. Big WrestleMania match against former WWE champion, former ECW champion Bobby Lashley. I got to go with Omos. I hope Bobby wins. But I think the money for me is on Omos. And then the match that I think everybody wants to see. It is the winner-take-all match to unify the WWE and Blue Universal Championships. Your WWE champion, Brock Lesnar, goes one-on-one with your tribal chief, with the head of the table, with the needle mover. Acknowledge him. Your Blue Universal Champion, Roman Reigns. Now, this is the third time we've seen this match. So for WWE to claim it's the biggest WrestleMania match in history, I'm not buying it. Because talked about this a few weeks ago. I came off rattled off like a dozen off the top of my head, which I think were bigger than this match. And people are complaining, no, this is the third time we've seen it, but my counter to that always is this is the best version of Roman Reigns that we've ever gotten. This is the best version of Brock Lesnar that I think we've ever had. So to me, it's almost like a whole brand new matchup. Two completely different people. They're completely different than they have been in the past. Roman is a serious heel, tribal chief, head of the table. Acknowledge him. And Brock is smiling cowboy Brock Lesnar. And it's really interesting to see the dynamic kind of reversed. Where before, Roman was the white meat baby face. I'm Roman Reigns. I'm a good guy. Cheer me. Yeah, all that shit. And Brock is just a beast incarnate going out there trying to fuck a guy up in about 2 minutes. Paul Heyman is going to play a role in this tonight. Paul, of course, the longtime advocate for Brock Lesnar. Now he is the special counsel to Roman Reigns. Acknowledge him. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of role Paul plays. He will play a role in this. I have no doubt that Paul Heyman will play a role in this match tonight. And to be perfectly honest, like my personal pick would be to have Brock win and have Cowboy Brock with 2 belts. But I think the smart choice, as far as the stories they can tell going forward, is you keep Roman Reigns strong. You have Roman win. Like with the streak ending to Brock Lesnar, whoever beats Roman Reigns, it's got to be special. Whoever finally dethrones the tribal chief, acknowledge him. It has to be special. It's got to be a big moment. Whether that's next year WrestleMania, whether that's you find somebody, you build them up to SummerSlam. Like, you've got to make this worth, the moment. As cool as I think it would be to see, Brock win. Like I said, this is the funnest version of Brock we've ever had. The money's on Roman. Until they find that person that can come in and take Roman down, he's just going to keep winning. And that's perfectly fine. So again, for night 2, I've got Sasha and Naomi, Johnny Knoxville, Pat McAfee, The Street Profits, Sheamus and Ridge Holland, Edge, Omos, and Roman Reigns. Acknowledge him. So that is my picks for WrestleMania Night 2. Like I said, I feel like did pretty darn good on night one. I could have swore I picked Logan and The Miz. I might have to go back because I might have talked myself out of it. But I won 5 for 7 last night. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's 8 matches tonight. If I can go 6 for 8 and go 11 for 15, I'd be pretty happy being able to only get 2 wrong each night. Of course, my goal is 8 of 8 tonight, but we'll see what happened or what happens. Check, is anybody in here? Nope, nobody's here. Nobody chatting. I do have my chat set up the right way this time. Thank goodness. But I'll end it here. I'm going to finish eating my pizza. I've got cold pizza getting cold. I've got Weiss crab dip getting more yummy and yummy. Like I said, if you live in the States and you have a Weiss Markets or Weiss grocery store, WEIS, Weiss's, go in their seafood section and get their Cajun crab dip. Absolutely amazing. And I'll drink some Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar to that. All right. Well, guys, that's going to wrap it up for this stream. I'm going to hop off here. Got a couple things to do tonight. Going to continue snacking. The wife and I are going to be doing some chicken nuggies and French fries for dinner. It's going to be a snack fest here at the Wrestling with Fans compound. We're going to sit back. We're going to relax. We're going to watch WrestleMania Night 2. I hope you all are able to watch it. Shout out to my buddy Wags over on Twitch. It's Wags _ 369, I think. I was doing a watch party. Joined in with him a little bit last night. It's pretty cool. So if you're over on Twitch, check him out. And yeah, tomorrow we'll see how things. I might be able to live stream tomorrow. We'll talk about Night 2, preview Raw, and then got to record the show to come out on Tuesday. So that's that. Until then, thank you all for watching. Once again, my name is Kyle. And I will see you next time right here on Wrestling with Fans.